All right, back by popular demand, we are getting into some 80s guitar magazine nonsense. Look at this, October 1987, Whitesnake. Monumental for me. This is one of the bands that got me into guitar. It's so awesome. And it's just so funny to look back and go like, yeah, none of those guys were really responsible for this album. Vandenberg, of course, played the solo for Here I Go Again on the album, which is a absolute perfect guitar solo. The rest of the album was played by Sykes, and there is a radio edit of Here I Go Again where the whole version of those guitars were played by Dan Huff. All of it's cool. All of it's cool. Later on for the video of Give Me All Your Love, Vivian Campbell played a solo, which also was pretty cool. So, good stuff. Look at this. This is before even like major endorsements. I don't think this was a PV, and this is I don't even know what that is, but it's cool. I like it. I don't know what's happening there. That's a madness of pickups, but let's crack it open. 1987, October. What a year. Beautiful. Oh, I've got this wah volume pedal still. It's the first pedal I ever had, along with a Marshall Governor. I'll have to show you guys on the channel one day. Okay, GNL. That is some wacky business. It's because it was for $500, and that's what you got for $500 back then. Man, Digitech owned the ads for this stuff, man. They're everywhere. EMGs. Mason Ruffner. Who is this? I don't know who he is. Oh, it is PV Town up in here. I've never tried these. I'll have to see if I could find one. Oh boy. That is Striper to the max. I gotta say, those are pretty sweet Jacksons. That is awesome. I don't know if I've ever listened to Striper. I think I heard one song on Headbangers Ball back in the day. But honestly, I can't tell you if they're good or not. I did listen to Michael Sweet had an album recently with George Lynch. And that was pretty cool. Soldiers Under Command. I'll have to look this up. All right, I just looked it up. It goes da 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 da. So yes, that's cool. Gets a Striper A+ for me. Then it goes. That's what my wife would say. Vivian Campbell and the Randalls that he didn't play. He used like a tube Randall, which is kind of like a oxymoron, because no one else had tube Randalls. Oh, Steve Howe. I love Yes. I'm really like Trevor Rabin, Yes, but Steve Howe's cool too. Along with the obvious Zeppelin influence on this tune, one can hear bits of Deep Purple, Billy Squier, and Ronnie Dio. That's a good combination there, augmented by Sykes' multi-metal guitars. The vocal guitar trades during the verse are reminiscent of Black Dog. The solo is a good example of the Yngwie school of scalular playing. I don't know if I would have said Yngwie there. It's more like a Gary Moore shred-o-rama. Sykes is so Gary Moore and Michael Schenker. Like this beautiful blend of those guys. And then his own like awesomeness blended in. All right, hey, I'm a 15-year-old guitarist who's recently relocated to Pennsylvania. I'm into Dokken, Van Halen, and Dio. Looking for a bass player and drummer. If you're interested, please send a tape and pictures of yourself. You know the kind of pictures this poor 15-year-old kid would get if they still ran these kind of ads? Oh, man. Oh, the Cult. What album is this? Electric. Oh, that's good stuff. Billy Duffy is awesome. I didn't get it till later, but he is actually super awesome. And he seems like the coolest dude. All right, what's your current guitar lineup? Gretsch is the guitar I primarily use live, a white Gretsch Vulcan. I had 3 of them. Yeah, I like that huge Gretsch look. Oh, they're talking about Rick Rubin coming in and changing things up. Guitar-wise, I basically recorded completely dry. I did the Love album with the Gretsch and all the solos and rhythm parts. Any electric guitar on the album was Gretsch. On electric, first and foremost, when we came to New York, we weren't allowed to bring any equipment. So they rented stuff. I got 2 or 3 Les Pauls, which is my old mainstay guitar. That's pretty much what I owned until getting the Gretsch. I also rented Marshalls. It was completely dry. I used to record solos with delays, not putting the delay to tape, but an approximation of the mixed delay sound. I was playing to the delay. Rick said, no, play to yourself, and then we'll see if it needs delay. And then it gave them a more upfront sound. Any words of wisdom for practicing musicians? Don't be disappointed if you're not the fastest guitar player in the world, and you can't play like Steve Stevens or Van Halen or Vi. You also got to be really cool. That's the trick. JB Player. All right. Oh, that is a hot mess of a band. Yikes. Yikes. There we are. You all met for the first time while shooting the video to Still of the Night. Adrian said Dave had been asking me to join his band since right before the first Vandenberg album. And Rudy said back in '84, Whitesnake and Quiet Riot were touring together. Okay, so that's how they met. And Vivian got a call from John Kolodner at the record company. So he had a band called Trinity. There's a YouTube video of him playing. It was very like 80s pop. Kind of a little strange to see him jump from Dio to this Trinity band. He said when they were shooting the video for Still of the Night, he was just like, yeah, I made the right choice. So, but he learned a lot in that band doing Trinity and changed his rig and stuff. He had to experiment with sounds. It led me to getting a whole Bob Bradshaw system to give me versatility in orchestrating a song. Even though there's nothing in Trinity that can bridge the gap to Whitesnake, the material that I wrote in Trinity, I still intend to use. I wonder if he did. Because his playing on the River Dogs is phenomenal. And his tone, that's a fantastic album. Rudy says, we were all chiefs in this band, but before you become a chief, you have to become a follower. By the time you become a certified chief, you understand both sides. Gosh, he kept talking about Trinity. No one knows about Trinity, dude. Given the situation that none of you played on the album, do you feel you are in the ultimate copy band? I guess you could say that for this year, we will be the ultimate copy band. It's a funny feeling because the last 10 years, I've only played my own material. I learn a lot from playing these songs. You start using new approaches. I don't feel like I'm in a cover band the same way I didn't feel like I was in a cover band when I was in Ozzy Osbourne's band. Did you learn any of John's solos? Nope. Adrian says, nope, I didn't. I never even learned one solo in my whole life because I'm too lazy and I don't practice enough for it. Okay. Vivian, the only solo that I will duplicate is This Love. It's very Gary Moore style, so obviously both John and I ripped off Gary. It's the kind of thing I can do very easily and have a good feeling for that sort of solo. Not taking anything away from Sykes because I think he plays phenomenally on the album, but a lot of his solos don't make a statement to me. Incorrect. They are very much John Sykes' style, and I wouldn't feel comfortable emulating solos that I didn't really feel. It's hard to recreate a Sykes solo. The only guy that really does them justice is Doug Aldrich, because they have kind of similar influences, kind of play the same aggressive, speedy kind of stuff. The bending is insane. Those guys are pretty compatible. Adrian, I noticed you switched guitars recently. He said, I designed a Fernandez about a year ago. Oh, that must have been like short-lived because, okay, that's a Fernandez. On a Les Paul, it's hard to get enough attack on the notes. Now I'm using active pickups, and I'm still working on that with Fernandez. Wonder when he switched over to PV. It must have been pretty soon after that. Oh, he was even saying he was putting together an amp. At the moment, my amps are modified to hell. It's like a cross between a Marshall, a Fender, and a Boogie. That almost doesn't make sense. It's got the chunkiness of a Marshall and a little bit of the distortion from the Marshall. There's a little bit of Fender-type distortion and the brightness of a Fender and the versatility of a Boogie. He's just talking crap here. Mer, mer, mer. Only effect he uses is a Dimension D chorus. Vivian says, oh, I have a Bradshaw system. I have a rack 5 foot high, 2 SPX 90s, a Roland SRV 2000 reverb, a PCM 70, PCM 41, a Furman PQ3 EQ, a Rocktron exciter, Rocktron compressor, 2 noise gates, 2 Furman power conditioners, you didn't need to tell us that, 2 Rain line mixers, a TC chorus, a TC 2290, which is the multi-effect I was raving about in your NAMM report. People used to call the 2290 a multi-effect, which is very misleading because it only does one effect at a time. But I guess if you're going to say it can do delay and it can become a chorus or it can make a tremolo effect, then that's multi-effect, sort of. I use 2 Randall GR100 rack mount heads. I use the preamps only. Then it goes to a Randall 240 stereo power amp. 120 watts aside. That stuff must have been loud. And then we're back talking about Trinity again. Oy. Randall cabs with Jaguar speakers. And so he's using a BC Rich guitar. Kramer Pacer. Oh, so Buddy Blaze, the guy that designed his Night Swan. Yeah. Does that say Blaze on the front? I don't know. And then talking about Rudy's sound, which no one cares about. We're just going to move right past that. Because his sound goes boom, 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 boom. Still the Night. What did they have for his solo run? I wonder how accurate that is. No, I don't think that's right. It's not even starting in the right place. I think John would start up somewhere around like the 12th fret, but, you know, the bigger strings, and this is staying up high and working laterally. So no shocker, because almost always the tabs were wrong, right? Always wrong. You're like a kid going, this is impossible. Of course, because that's not how it's done. Okay, they talk about this. Still the Night guitar sound is full out metal and is best in a stereo setup. I used to like look at those and go, yeah, okay, I see. Level 50, presence 50. Yeah, that's going to give me that sound from a Digitech pedal. This guy's good. Oh, here we go. Will Whitesnake become this band rather than you becoming Whitesnake? I don't know what that means. Vivian says the next album will be very different. And yeah, that's the truth. Adrian said, this is not to be meant to be a one-time project. Whitesnake will be the combination of these 5 persons instead of what it used to be. It's going to be very different. Dave always writes with people in his band. He wrote most of the last album with Sykes. Next album, he'll write with us. But, you know, we know how that one went. He wrote it with Adrian. And then, you know, they say that Adrian got injured. Did he? I don't know. I think they heard it and were like, this is not really that good. And Sykes wasn't going to come back. So then they paid Steve Vai $1 million to do whatever he wanted with it. And that's what we got. And I love that album, so it all worked out for me. All right, gang. See you later.